Hello, my name is William Jin, and I'm a media production first-year student. Um, and this is my TV and Me. Here we have a little short montage of some of the work that I've been doing so far. Well, the work I've been doing on the module so far, I would like to say that I'm doing fairly well. A lot of the stuff that we're learning in the editing class and the studio class is stuff that I've done before back home in college. So a lot of the editing stuff basically is just me going over what I already know and just reiterating everything again. And in the TV module, well, the actual studio sessions, I've been learning a lot of interesting stuff about like how TV works, how TV production works, like basically everything that goes along it, especially stuff that's coming out of the gallery. Phil nominated me director, and me trying to find out what all the other roles, I guess, like cameraman, vision mixer, auto cue, like how they all work together to form one single production. So that's so far what I've been doing in TV production. And a lot of the work that I've been doing outside of class, it's more or less like geared towards some of these specific things that we're learning in class. For example, like good lighting, and I did a track shoot. Like I incorporated many things into one. So I set up the track, I moved it around with the good 3-point lighting, turned them on and off to show that I know what I was doing, and on top of showing that I knew what I was doing with the 3-point lighting, I also was able to sort of understand the basics of the track, to be able to move while panning to keep the focus of the target in the center of the frame, and also just show that I know 3-point lighting. We've done interviews in the university and all that. So, did you know that we had 100 pounds of voucher for Blackwell's?
Yeah, I had an idea about that. That was actually good. I think it's a good thing for the university, you know, because that kind of, it's kind of boosts people's morale.
So I assume then you'd spend the 100-pound voucher already on books and stuff, right?
Sorts of stuff really.
Yeah,
It's more stationery.
I've spent it on like birthday cards. I've spent it on like one of these plastic cups. I've spent it on.
See, this is actually a very good example of how I was able to use the knowledge that I learned in class, the knowledge of camera work, camera angles, camera settings, and all that, and of course the microphone for me to be able to interview these people. Because first of all, if you see, the camera is an eye line, that's something we learned, and the microphone, I know it probably isn't the best stylistic choice to put the microphone on frame, but I thought it would just be like a nice input, if you will, into the shot. It's more like an actual interview, so the microphone goes to me, I talk, the microphone goes to them, they talk, that kind of deal. And it's just, overall, there are some errors with the sound, which I believe it was the team's fault. We didn't exactly set the settings right. We didn't set the highs and lows of the limits of the volume, and I don't think that the audio was balanced correctly between the left and right speakers. So in some of them you can hear slightly more on the left and slightly more on the right. That's something that we have to really learn again. One other thing that I noticed that was really good for me is that the microphone, it has a specific way, or like there's more receptors to sound on one side than the other, and I intentionally rotated the microphone so that the sound with more sound receptors would be facing them to capture more of their sounds. And of course, crossing lines as well. Crossing lines shows a target moving from one place to another. That's all good. This skill basically it just shows again that I'm able to use the camera properly, but there's no sound in this video. But one other thing is it's the ability to manipulate the post-production sequence and make it seem like a person is walking forward in a straight line, whereas he's actually not. And in editing as well, out of all the work that I've done, my most proud of in editing probably be Derby Fest, because the music that I've picked is so up to beat and so up to beat, and like all the cuts have to be precise, on time, and make it look nice, and I have to slow things down even with the fast music and speed things up again to make things not so awkward. The very first project that I've done for this media production course is Derby Fest. It's a 2-day event where you go out and you basically shoot a promotional video for this event. And for my very first project, I found it to be, how do I put this? I don't want to say less challenging, but it wasn't as challenging as I thought it would be, because first of all, I had a very good team. They knew what they were doing with the camera, so it was very easy for me to just find the shots that I was looking for that I can later use in the post-production process afterwards. So, and for everything else, they knew exactly what they were doing, so I could use their footage as fillers or B-roll or as establishing shots. So that's one thing that I really liked about Derby Fest. It's not only is it a very fun event to go to, it actually broadened my mind on how to use the camera and how to tell a story using different camera angles, using the sound, and how to interact with people's emotions, with the music, with all this like different subjects on screen, and most importantly, it would be how people can be influenced by the camera cuts, because not only do the cuts have to match with the music, have to match with the general theme, or not even theme, just the general vibe of this entire video, but it depends. If you're using a very fast song like I was in my Derby Fest, then the cuts should be fast. But what if you turn them, what if you did slow cuts? It would give you a different feeling than fast cuts. So that's one thing that I found was very intriguing to me, was how people can not only be influenced by how the camera was set up, how the lighting is, how the music is, but actually how in post-production, how the actual soul of this video is in post and not anywhere else. I mean, obviously the camera skills and all that are very important, but more importantly is that you have a good editor that knows what he's doing. One other thing that I forgot to mention is the amazing opportunity that my lecturer, Phil Bassey, gave me. The opportunity was to be able to film a boxing match that his son was involved with, that he has been involved with for several years. And he invited 3 students, so there were 4 cameras in total, and he basically told us just to film the fight. And this was amazing because the cameras that we were using, we are using next year. So this was an amazing head start to get to know the cameras that we're using next year, and of course to get to familiarize myself with live shooting. And this goes basically hand in hand with the live show, because everything is in the moment and you cannot let anything pass. And if anything passes by, then that's over. You won't be able to get that back. And that's something that's pretty amazing. Well, so far this is my TV and Me, and this is what I've been doing my first year of TV production.